Hi all, Once the Future Gamer here and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. Last time we did Pokemon Yellow with a single EV and for the most part it wasn't too bad, barring some absolutely horrible fight with ghost types though. Today though, we are staying in Kanto but with a different generation. Today we answer the question of if I can beat Pokemon Fire Red with a single Snorunt. Now, about Snorunt, it's a pretty basic mono ice type with a 300 BST, rocking 50 in every stat. That isn't helpful, it doesn't really excel anywhere. 300 BST is roughly on average with the first form pseudo legendary, though there's also some random ones in there like Baltoy, Bellsprout, Minccino and Geodude. Our move pool isn't too in-depth. We've got a lot of ice types and normal moves, plus a few dark ones. Ice Beam, Crunch and Double Team look the most useful. There's a few extra moves on the TM Learn list that could be useful, like Water Pulse, Shadow Ball and, oh, well I guess that's it. Return maybe, that's always useful. So, just a quick note about the rules then. I can only use Snorunt in combat, though I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs. They will be unable to fight though. No items in battle beyond held items and Pokeballs, plus no glitches or exploits. I think this can be done, though I'll probably need to be at max level to win the game. There could be some absolutely brutal fights later on. If you do enjoy what you've seen here, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe away. I used the UPR to replace Bulbasaur with Snorunt so that I can do the whole run with it. I replaced Bulbasaur so that the rival picks Charmander, which will be the hardest for us to fight. I nicknamed the Snorunt Salty because I have a feeling he's going to get melted at some point. Probably. He has a brave nature, so lowered speed and more attack. I'm not really thrilled with that, but it'll have to do. Ability is in a focus, so I won't get affected by flinching. I can live with that. And then I fight Rod, who beats me quite easily. Powder Snow, our only attacking move, does very little damage to his Charmander. Don't worry, I'll get him next time. I do a bit of Route 1 grinding, completing the Oaks Parcel mission and getting the Pokedex and some balls. I want the item finder for later, so it's worth catching stuff. I'm not too concerned about Brock because his Pokemon are Park Ground type and we can hit them for super effective damage. At level 10 with Bite in my arsenal, I make a try against Rod on Route 22. This time though, it goes a lot differently. Salty nearly one hits his Pidgey with Powder Snow, finishing it off with Bite. Charmander lands some scratches, but Salty hits it with 3 bites and takes it out, giving me some modicum of revenge for what happened in Oak's lab. I'm going to make him suffer that defeat over the course of the game, or he'll make me suffer. I guess we'll see. With Salty at level 14, I decide to see how we do against Brock, and it goes better than expected. Salty one hits Geodude with Powder Snow, albeit we did crit before, doing serious damage to Onix, despite having Bind used on him. Onix uses Tackle, and then Salty finishes it with another Powder Snow. 1 badge down! In Mount Moon, there's a choice of some sort of fossil perhaps, but I'll never tell. If you want to know, then affect the YouTube algorithms, please. In Cerulean City, I decided to make a try at Misty at level 23 just to see how he match up. It doesn't go that well. Staryu uses Harden twice and survives 2 headbutts on red health before she heals it with a super potion. I take the chance to use Double Team and finish it with Bite, but not before she lands a pair of Water Pulse attacks and confuses me. Starmie lands Water Pulse, Salty hits himself in confusion and gets knocked out. Maybe I should have used Double Team earlier in the fight. Let's try that again. Second attempt, I put 6 Double Teams up at the start, while Staryu only uses Harden before I start hitting it with Bite. Because Bite and Dark in general is special attack in this generation, it's unaffected by the defense rise. Get in. I even land a couple of Icy Winds to try and slow it down. I try a similar tactic on Starmie, though there's a few things to note about that fight. Numero uno, it's weak to Bite, being part Psychic. And 2, it knows Swift, so it can hit me at will. Mind you, I'd rather take a normal type attack from a Starmie than a Stab Water Pulse, so swings and roundabouts. Eventually it goes down and I use the Water Pulse TM on Salty, replacing Headbutt. Next up is the Nugget Bridge rival fight, and he starts with Pidgeotto, who lands Quick Attack and then goes down to a single Icy Wind attack. Charmander is kinda one hit with Water Pulse after it lands on red health. I confuse it and then it hits itself to go down. Abra fails with Teleport and then goes down to Bite, while Rattata lands Quick Attack and then goes down to Icy Wind. Before going any further, I spent some time on Route 24 trying to EV train my special attack to be better than it is, grinding up on Oddish and Abra. It might be too little too late, but since I learn Ice Beam, and I've probably got my final move set already, my special attack needs to be a lot better. I actually do a pretty good job of getting it to overtake my regular attack, attack. Maybe doing it for 10 levels was pushing it, but meh, better to be safe than sorry. Next, we've got the fight with Rod again on the SSN. Salty is actually in the mid-40s level by this point, so take guesses as to how hard this fight actually was. Pidgeotto gets one hit by Ice Beam, Charmeleon by Water Pulse, Raticate by Ice Beam, and finally Kadabra with Crunch. Total sweep. Next is Electric type Trainer, Lieutenant Surge, and it's pretty straightforward. Volto and Pikachu are both casually swept aside with a single Water Pulse attack each, and Raichu offers a little more resistance, folding under a blast of Ice Beam. 3 badges down, we're on the road again. In Lavender Town, I tackle Rod again. Pidgeotto goes down to Ice Beam, Charmeleon to Water Pulse, Execute goes down to Ice Beam, and Kadabra is quickly taken down by Crunch. Last of his Gyarados, and a single Ice Beam takes it down too. That didn't take long, let's move on to Celadon. First though, I do Giovanni, and his first 2 Pokemon, the Onix and the Rhyhorn, go down very quickly to Water Pulse, being 4 times weak against it, as well as specially defensively weak to boot. Bad result for them. Kangaskhan though, should be tougher, but given the level difference, it takes an Ice Beam to the face, and shall we say, it gets knocked out cold. Thank you, I'm here all week. Next, it's Erica, and anyone want to take guesses on how easy or difficult this fight was or wasn't? In fact, I'm going to take the chance to plug some of my other videos, given this is my 7th straight Pokemon challenge, and you might have noticed the cards that pepper the video throughout, and will continue to do so. I've done challenges in each of the first 5 gens now. I think the only set of games I haven't done one in is Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but I might remedy that at some point. Anyway, if you like this, then feel free to check them out. Anyway, Erica is a one-shot sweep with Ice Beam. Let's move on. I am rather spoilt for choice on where to go next. I decided to go tackle Koga in Future City. His first Coughing gets taken down with a crit Ice Beam. Muck survives Ice Beam and uses Minimize, but I finish it with Crunch. Second Coughing goes down to Ice Beam, and Wheezing goes the second way. 5 badges down. So, back to Saffron then, I think. Next is a stealth rival fight. Pidgeot goes down to Ice Beam, then Charizard comes down and takes 3/4 health in damage from Water Pulse before it uses Scary Face, and then one hits me with Flamethrower from full health. That didn't go to plan. Okay then, let's get a few more levels, see if we can hit that lizard harder. I try again a few levels higher with Salty at level 66. It plays out the same as before. I do massive damage to Charizard, putting it on red health, but it still one hit me with Flamethrower, so not good. I need to be powerful enough to one hit it first. It's either that or hope for confusion luck, so I head back for a few more levels. 1 or 2 more should do it. If I'm struggling here, then I doubt I can beat Blaine either, so it's my only option. Even at level 69, I can't one hit Charizard and it can still knock me out from full health, so that's not good. At level 71, I managed to confuse it with Water Pulse, but it still fights through to land Scary Face, then shakes confusion off to one hit me. 31 friggin' levels higher too. This is, yeah, I might have to keep leveling, but this doesn't bode well for the rest of the game. Actually, though, my luck does change. The 5th time, I try it and go for Ice Beam instead of Water Pulse, just to see if it does any better. And I'll be amazed if Ice Beam doesn't do what Water Pulse couldn't. It knocks Charizard out cold. Same pun again, I know. Heh. Execute gets one hit with Ice Beam. Alakazam goes down to Crunch. And finally, Gyarados is defeated by Ice Beam. Well, that was something that could have saved a lot of effort. Giovanni is next. Nidorino goes down to 2 Water Pulse attacks, but manages to poison Salty in exchange. Rhyhorn goes down to a single Water Pulse, and following that, Nidoqueen goes down to Ice Beam. Last is Kangaskhan. It goes for Fake Out, meaning that the first time in the run, Salty's ability comes into play, meaning he isn't flinched, and he responds by blasting the Kangaskhan in the face with Ice Beam. I go for Sabrina next. This is pretty straightforward, all things considered. Kadabra gets one hit by Crunch. Mr. Mime also gets one hit by Crunch. Handy move. Venomoth, I change up and use Ice Beam, but it still one hits it. Finally, it's the Alakazam. I revert to the previous strategy and one hits it with Crunch. 6 badges down. I suppose we best go deal with the old man on the island then. With Salty at level 75, I challenge Blaine and I use the leftovers in hope that I can recover some health if we do take any blows. Not that it's needed. Growlithe gets one hit by Water Pulse. That same move managed to drown out both his fire horses, as first Ponyta gets snuffed out by it, and then Rapidash goes down to the same move. Last is Arcanine, and it actually survives Water Pulse with the tiniest fraction of red health. Luck goes to me though, as Water Pulse confuses it, and the doggo hits it itself in confusion to knock itself out. 7 badges down. Last is Giovanni for the 3rd time. First is Rhyhorn goes down to Water Pulse before I take in a spot of good-natured but totally utterly brutal Regicide, taking out both Nidoqueen and Nidoking with a single Ice Beam each. The Monarchs bite the dust. Second Rhyhorn goes down to Water Pulse, and last up is the Dugtrio, which goes down to Water Pulse as well. So yeah, Gym Challenge done, and we are off to the Pokemon League. But first, it's Rod again, and here, that big old orange lizard managed to raise fresh new problems. Pidgeot goes down to Ice Beam and Rhyhorn to Water Pulse, but at level 53, Charizard is fast enough to outspeed us. Now, there is a saving grace that we do just about survive Flamethrower, but Ice Beam isn't powerful enough to one-hit it, and so we go down to a Wing Attack following that. Grinding again then, I don't know if you heard my sigh just then, but it's why I do fight every trainer through the game. I figure I'm going to have to do it at some point or another, and so I tried to get it in early. At least we have the VS Seeker. I make a second try at level 81, still not fast enough to outspeed the Charizard, but we take less damage from Flamethrower, so too bad a second one does turn Salty into a puddle of liquid. Another attempt at level 83, and this one ends the same way. This time, the Charizard uses Slash first, but alas, we don't finish it off with Ice Beam, and a Flamethrower liquefies us once again. Okay then, let's try a different tactic. I have double team, so let's see if I can get some off this as Pidgeot and win that way. And it's a decent tactic. I get 6 double teams off. Pidgeot does manage to strike several wing attacks, but thanks to leftovers, we're not that bad for health. I one-hit Rhyhorn with Water Pulse. Charizard misses its attacks, and knock it out with Ice Beam and Water Pulse. Execute goes down to a single Ice Beam, while Alakazam comes out and uses Calm Mind. Now, I am concerned about this, at least, until Crunch nails it out cold with a single clench of those mighty jaws. Last is Gyarados, it goes down to a crit Ice Beam. So, we've made it to the Pokemon League, and these are our stats at level 86. 137 in the attack stat we'll never use, 121 in defence, 159 in special attack, 107 in special defence, and 114 in speed. So, I guess we'll tackle the Elite Four and see how we do. I don't think we can win at this level, but we'll see. I'll do my usual thing and save my PP restores for any serious attempts. Lorelei is first, and the issue that I soon realise we have is dealing enough damage to her. Dugong is 2-hit with Crunch and throws up Hail in between. Pretty useless, but I'll take it. I tried to take advantage of Cloyster's low special defence with Water Pulse, but she uses Protect to block the first one, and the second one doesn't do that much damage. Before the third can land, she switches into Lapras, and Water Absorb leaves the blow useless. We could probably 3-hit Lapras with Crunch, but it confuses us and proceeds to hammer us several times with Surf, knocking us out. I don't think we'll have the damage problem versus the rest of the Elite Four, so I might utilise a double team strategy for attempt number 2. What happens at the second attempt begins with a truly gruelling endurance match against Dugong. I get 6 double teams off and get smacked about by Surf a lot in exchange, though it does mix a few safeguards and hails in there. Crunch doesn't 2-hit it this time, rather she drops a potion on it and heals up, meaning it takes 5 crunches and a Water Pulse to finish it off. Cloyster thankfully though is 1-hit with Crunch, and Slowbro goes down the same way. Lapras is 3-hit with Crunch, it misses Confuse Ray, and I get the special defence drop on the second one, which helps as it eats a Citrus Berry. Finally, Jynx goes down to Crunch. That might be the awkward one down. On to Bruno then. As I do face Bruno, guess which complete idiot forgot to heal between fights because I was too busy writing the script? Hint, it was me. Anyway, both of his Onyx go down to Water Pulse attacks, 1 for each of them, and then Hitmonchan goes down to Ice Beam. Hitmonlee survives Ice Beam though and deals a crit Brick Break, which knocks us out from slightly above the half health mark. I doubt we'd have survived that regardless, so I think there's a drawing board around here somewhere. Second Bruno attempt goes the same way, only Hitmonchan lands a crit Sky Uppercut to 1-hit Salty. See? That is unfortunate. To get crit by a move that has pretty bad accuracy is literally rubbing salt into the wound. So yeah, I'll try to get a few more levels and see how we do. I'll try again at level 90 and this time it goes better. Onyx number 1 goes down to Water Pulse. Onyx number 2 goes the same way. Hitmonchan goes down to Ice Beam. Hitmonlee goes down to Ice Beam. And last is Machamp, who gives me the most trouble. Ice Beam takes most of its health, and it then lands Rock Tomb for a quarter of my own health. It uses Citrus Berry and heals up to yellow health, and then lands a brutal Cross Chop that leaves Salty on 9 HP before being finished off by Water Pulse. That was close. I heal up, and then I move on. Next, we have Agatha. Her first Gengar goes down to Crunch before Arbok comes out. To save PP, I try to deal most of the damage with Water Pulse, but it uses Screech and then Iron Tail to inflict massive damage. She uses a full restore and I hit it in the face with Ice Beam to beat it. Golbat also goes down to Ice Beam before the second Gengar takes Salty down with Sludge Bomb. At level 95 I make next best attempt. First Gengar goes down to Crunch. Arbok gets knocked out by 2 Water Pulses, landing an Iron Tail in exchange. Golbat goes down to Ice Beam before the second Gengar lands Hypnosis and then proceeds to try and drown the sleeping Salty in filth, hitting half a dozen Sludge Bombs and Shadow Balls before Salty wakes up and takes it down with Crunch. Last is Haunter, who also goes down to Crunch. Next is Lance. Gyarados gets put into red health from Ice Beam and lands Bite before the Dragon Master heals it. I finish it with 2 Crunchers. Aerodactyl inflicts heavy damage with Ancient Power and Hyper Beam, but I take it down with 2 Water Pulse attacks. Dragonite, as you might expect, is a 1-hit KO with Ice Beam before both of his Dragonair go the same way. And just like that, there's 1 fight left to take the title. Let's tackle Rod. I heal up, pop an elixir and head in to face him just to see if this can be done at this level of 96. Well, I immediately realise there is one huge issue. I do get 6 double teams up, but Pidgeot also manages to hit me with 4 sand attacks. So, a lot of time and effort for very little reward. I hit Pidgeot with Ice Beam at the 3rd attempt. Mind you, it does no aerial ace, so it does hit me every single time it uses a move. I do miss about half a dozen Water Pulse attacks on Rhydon before it takes me out with a crit Earthquake. Right then, max level. I'll use the last few rare candies that I have to hit level 100 and then we'll see what we can do. Level 100 gives us 223 HP, 159 in attack and 185 in special attack, 141 in regular defence, 124 in special defence, as well as 133 in speed. This is what we got to work with, and so we'll try it from here. Anyway, I get 6 double teams off, but I do only get hit by sand attack twice this time. Aerial Ace does land several times, but we have got leftovers on, so we do manage to heal up. Ice Beam hits Pidgeot and knocks it out. Water Pulse misses Rhydon, but it does miss Rock Tomb in exchange. A second Water Pulse misses again, damn, but it does land Rock Tomb, which doesn't do much damage considering, but the speed drop could be brutal. At the 3rd attempt, Water Pulse does land and 1 hits it. Next is Charizard. It misses Fire Blast and Ice Beam misses it in retaliation. It misses a second Fire Blast and Ice Beam lands, freezing it solid. I go to finish it off with Water Pulse and that misses, however it does stay frozen. The second Water Pulse lands and knocks it out. Alakazam outspeeds and goes for Reflect, which isn't going to save it from Crunch. It goes down in 1 hit from the move. Salty misses Ice Beam on the Executor and it tries to put me to sleep, only failing miserably. Ice Beam lands at the 2nd attempt and puts it down. Finally, it's Gyarados. It lands Hydro Pump, which does decent damage, and we do land Ice Beam in exchange for 3/4 of its health. A second Hydro Pump misses, we land another Ice Beam to finish off the Aquatic Serpent and win the run. Well, there were a few tricky fights here, but it wasn't too bad overall. It didn't take as many attempts to do the Elite Four and the Champion as I feared. So next time, well, I'm thinking about doing Pokemon Black with a single Beedrill, but whatever I write here at this time could be subject to change. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this run. If you have, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and all that jazz, especially if you want to see me make more content like this. If you have any suggestions for challenges, then you can drop them in the comments section below or on my Twitter page at @OnsonG. If you are interested in the other stuff I've done, check out my channel. I've got playthroughs of Pokemon games on there, as well as a few other games, mainly Resident Evil. So yeah, we're almost out of time. This has been Once a Future Gamer. Thanks for joining me. Take care now. Have a great day. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.